Hello guys, and welcome to the video. I've created a tier list of all 20 current Final Fantasy Rennaisance classes to share with you. Credits are obviously on screen, and enjoy the video. First up, we have the Evoker. This class is a magic job like many on this list, but it's far inferior to all of the other classes because of its role as a magic job. Its physicals are obviously bad, but there's nothing to remedy it here. The Evoker will get 3 hits with 1 weapon at the max level. You should never be physical attacking. They're horrible at that. Their only skill that they have in battle is Call. It's bad. You only get it after class change. It's completely random. You can get Carbuncle, which will shut down your spells. You can get a charge turn that locks you down. You can get just a waste of a turn. You can get waste of 2 turns if you're fighting dragons and you get Titan or something like that. It's not good. As far as summons go, there are 3 healing ones. There's a level 1 that gives regen, a very weak AoE status heal that cures petrification, and one that charges up to raise everyone and heal half max HP back to everyone. It doesn't cure stone, and it's level 8 though, which is bad because you want to use Bahamut, which is 300 to 600 damage before doubling. It has a charge turn, but it's not elemental. It crushes everything. It does up to 1,200 damage to everything. It's amazing. Other than that and Goblin Punch, which is level 1, it scales. It's good. You can't just knock enemies out. You have to wait on charge turn. Sure, one of his life steals. They hit hard, but they're not going to be as effective because you can't just take out undead. You can't take out dangerous mobs. You're going to get hit a lot. Fenrir is fine. It gives blink status. You have to beat super bosses to get every single spell, which makes the game a lot harder. You have to go way out of your way. It has a lot of bad spells up to Bahamut. Kitesith is good, but there's not a lot here. Spellcaster without proper spells is not a good combination. Now we have the Dark Knight. I'll make my words brief. Negative hit percent is bad, missing is bad, blood weapon is bad. And Dark Knight has all 3 of them. He gets Soul Eater, which is decent. He gets Misery, which is decent. And he gets Dread Spikes as his limit, which is not that great. He can wear heavy armor, but they have generally bad magic. Absorb is not very good. They have bad intelligence, really bad intelligence. Their only really good weapon they can use is the Bastard Sword, which adds hit percent, even if it's only 10%. It hits pretty hard, and with high crit rate, they can do some damage, but they can't use any shields, not even the pro cape, and they're just kind of a gimmick class. With darkness status, they're based around darkness, they're based around lifesteal, and it's just not effective. It's just killing the enemies. They're fun, but they're not as great as tanks without the shields and as much HP growth. And to make up for the Death Knight's horrible stat growth, you have to use Consume Bat, which I don't like, which is why 7. It is not a good class in my opinion. I do not like Consume Bat. The Bard is a class that is weird at first, given how unintuitive it is, because the hide ability it's very bad. Basically, it just makes your 3 party members get hit more. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. You can play a song while hiding, but it's still not great. You can just stick them in the back row and it works fine. Mages get along with just the back row, and bracelets without this, you don't need hide. The songs are generally good. You can only play 1 song at once until class change. And you can't play 2 of the same one without the limit. And it's inferior compared to other support classes. Having to keep sustaining the action over time ruins the Bard. If he could get to stack more songs every turn, he would be better. But he falls short, especially for a class that needs to go so far away to get magic and talk to so many NPCs. And harps are not good, so you're going to be using knives. He's a bad physical support. That's all he is. The Archer is a very misaligned class. It feels like the Dark Knight, because they use bows. They can only get 1 hit at a time, ever. Compared to having more hits, the bonus damage, conversion rate, it's terrible. They can whip scarves, but the rest of their armor selection is terrible. They have good HP growth, but it gets wasted because they take so much damage. Hunter's Mark, once your class changes, is really good, making every hit critical on that target. Or it's like the next 4 hits will be critical on that target, or something like that. It's still really good. Their limit is fine. Their magic arrows are really annoying to farm for, really hard to go out of your way for. Leg shot is really good. There's nothing else that's really great. It's just hit them with and it works. Sometimes you need multiple casting, sometimes it's random. It's just not great. Aim is good, but it's just a poor class. It hits one enemy at a time for worse damage. Aim is only good against bosses. It's like you got leg shot and you got hunter's mark. That's basically it. Now we have the machinists. They're new to 2.2. They're like mage inclined, and they work on such. They have craftable magic tools, which effectively are like magic spells. You have to go way out of your way to do this. They're not that great. They're one-time use. Stuff like the novice hammer and the master hammer can help with it, but if you're running multiple, it's not helpful. You really shouldn't be running multiple. Their only like real property besides that is to swap equipment properties around and like infuse them. I'm going to super like heavy detail on this because it's complicated, but weapon properties can be mixed and matched together to make great levels of useful weapons. And of course, they're just another physical support class, and the engineer's ability to bring an old one back is the only real upgrade. It's nice, but it's not like Sir Systemair said. He said it was just really another health bar. I would agree with that statement. The engineer does not really get all that much to help over the Mechanist. The Red Mage was the best class, or the best mage class in the original Final Fantasy. And I remember I was very excited to see what it looked like when I first came to Rennaisance. I think Ozmo has done a generally good job with it. I think right now it's not a horrible class, but it's not a great class. I think it's pretty good. I think it Mike has a mid-tier class. I think it's in its healthy spot right now. But as for it's 15 out of 20. The Red Wizard does get 2 level 8 spells, but they're gimmicky. They're not quite as great. Convert is really good. Their convertibility is great. But refresh is a pretty mid-limit and it's useless for all solo runs, which I'm currently doing right now. So yeah. They have less spells, they cast them less times and not as well, and they falter against most physical attacks. They do get silver armor, but the only other armor choice that was added in FFR that they get is, I believe, the diamond bracelet, which doesn't really count. Their physical attacks are not very good past the ice sword. There's a big gap between that and the sun sword. I don't believe they get like vorpal or anything like that. They have mediocre strength at best. They're certainly not as good as the fighter or the warrior strength. It's really not a great combo for physical attacking. It's a lot better than I think all the other classes below it, and I definitely think he's in a healthy spot as like jack of all trades. He can't do anything on like so incredibly well. It's like noteworthy. He's really balanced, and he's in a once you get to Crescent Lake, he starts to get into a slow downward spiral. Ozmo truly has done a good job making him Next up we have the Spellblade, and this might seem like a low place for the Spellblade, but I actually disagree with that. It's inferior to the warrior in terms of weapons, since he gets the Acid Sword, but he has to use it until Castle Ordeal. He can get the Tidal Sword, which is worse than the Ice Sword. In terms of stats, it has water instead of ice as its element, which is like it's fine. He has to fight the legendary swordsman super boss, max out. Upgrading his in water and ice, like his spells. It takes a while. It's annoying. Runic, it's mid. And part, it's really bad. And his low health pool it's really bad. He does get shields, and he has an armor advantage by that. But he has much lower health, and I don't really like it. It sacrifices, I feel like, too much defense and opportunity to become a Mystic Knight. I was never very fond of the Green Mage's class until it received its buffs. In terms of strength versus White Mage, it's better in long battles, and it helps you take less damage as opposed to healing back damage taken. It's pretty solid. I think it's a little overrated. It does not get any of the harm spells. It does not get life. Its regen is good. All 4 regens. Shell is really, really good. Safety is good. Wall is good. Warding Circle is really broken unless you save once per 4. It has really high HP, which is not factored in here, which is why level 13 out of 20 might seem like a low place for it, which is probably due to the fact that I could not find a place to factor in its high vitality. Exfoliation got buffed, so hopefully it's going to better. I admittedly have not tried that yet, and then Accretion and Benefaction still suck. There's not really a lot to say here. It helps you take less damage over healing damage taken, but it's a little too situational for me. I would think the White Mage is better in most scenarios. The Thief is a mediocre physical class on his own, but he can equip a number of powerful weapons, and he can use ninja scrolls once he gets class change. Where he also gets fast, he becomes really very powerful. That's when the sword treasures get really good. You can get a lot of amazing stuff. Ribbon, 4th ribbon, diamond bracelet, chaos greatsword, all this stuff. You do need to keep a thief with you to get to that point, though. Mug is nice for getting money, but it's not going to actually help him in fights. He has some nice sword treasures like the bone mail and marsh cave, but he's kind of situational because he doesn't really carve out a niche for himself until he becomes a ninja. He's frail and his physical attacks aren't very powerful at that point. He is really good at running though, and he does get a decent amount of hit percent. Just like in the vanilla game, he's a late bloomer. He becomes very powerful once promoted. He has a limit. His limit is smoke bomb. You can use to skip over any of the spike fights in the game, which means you can skip Blue Dragon in Mirage. You can skip Phantom. You can skip all 4 of the fiends we visited, and can run away amazingly. He gets over 90% odds to run away from the get-go. I believe at level 50, Thief has like 98 or something ridiculous like that. He's a fun class. He gets a good selection of stuff to do once he becomes a ninja. Until then, you play the Thief like one. High evasion, running away, and stealing all the treasure. The White Mage in Final Fantasy Renaissance, it's very middle of the road. It does what it's supposed to do, and not much more. It gets healing. You get life, obviously, with revives. You get harm. That's basically the appeal of it. It has, it's very reliable, and it has immediacy. Cure spells are always useful, because you can just pop them on anyone and get a big heal fast. They're less efficient, and you have less big heals that don't do quite as much as the green mages over time, but it's immediate. Regen 4 isn't going to do any good against Kraken when all you want is Cure 3 or Cure 4. Life is really, really good. It's still really, really good, and I really like it. And Harm makes it really good against undead, and it helps deal with them. They're always hard. It shines in emergencies. When things go wrong fast, raw healing and just bring people back to life matter more than just setting things up or predicting what the enemy's going to do. Just fixing the problem once it's there. And White Mage is the best at fixing mistakes on the spot. What starts to fall behind is efficiency. It's very reactive. It doesn't do a lot to prevent damage. I mean, you can, but it has the A spells, which are fine. It doesn't get as many of the useful ones. Like A-Poise is really good, because it's hard to find poison resistance. A-Fur, A-Lid, A-Ice, it works the same as the Green Mage, but once you'll get resistances on all 4 party members to that eventually, and it's not worth it. Prey is fine, but it takes a little too long to become better than the heal staff, in my opinion. Compared to the Green Mage, which I think is its biggest competitor, it wins in emergencies, but it definitely loses over just longer battles over time. It's not going to be quite as good. I like the White Mage a lot, and it's nice that the White Wizard does at least get the Thor Hammer at the very end, as an alternative to item casts. But its strength sucks, and it's not always perfect to support now. Now that it's near monopoly over healing, it's gone. Black Mage in Final Fantasy Renaissance is another solid, but it's very middle of the road. It does exactly what you would think it would be. It's elemental damage, crowd control, and it can hit most, if not all, elemental weaknesses in the game. When it's good, it's really good, but it's also kind of inconsistent in some cases. Its magic damage is really good. It can exploit weaknesses better than anything else in the game, or close to anything else in the game. It's a lot of magic. It can cast it a lot of times, and the intelligence is good. It can bluff allies. It's pretty bad, but if you need to really hit an elemental weakness, it can work. And it can delete some of the more dangerous enemies, stuff like undead, sorcerers once you get nuke. So like that, it can wipe off the board instantly. When enemies are vulnerable, it's just really powerful. It's really good in shorter fights where you can where you only need maybe one cast to take out the enemies, because then it's more like heavy MP cost. Doesn't feel quite as like restrictive if you're only burning one charge per fight at the most. The status magic is nice, the insta-kill magic is nice, but they're not really why you would bring it. Obviously, the efficiency is not the best. It's not very good against enemies with high magic defense, which is everything at the end of the game. Its damage falls off hard once you run out of spell charges. You do have item casts, but those will only be effective to a certain point. If you can't hit for stronger damage on a weak enemy with an item cast, you're probably not going to be getting much. The reason why I'm giving it 4 out of 10 physicals, you can fast Cat Claw, which works pretty good, and of course fast is amazing. Its low HP is obviously really bad. It has terrible vitality, and it will take a serious pounding. And another thing, it will stay vulnerable to XXXX and stun for way longer, because they always hit if the target has less than 300 max HP, and blind is irrelevant. And like if enemies resist its elements, it can feel like useless, pretty much. The elephant in the room here is Elemental Seal, which fixes the issue of spell charges, because each one hits twice as hard. It nullifies resistances, and it makes status / okay spells. It's better, making them far more likely to hit. The problem here is action economy. You have to spend around setting up, and it has low HP, which it can struggle to get off multiple turn attacks. Of course, you don't actually have to do that. It's also bad with the priming trait from Matoria, since you're only going to get off 1 or maybe 2 Elemental Seal boosted spells. So, like, what's the point of priming? It's fine. It's situational, and it's definitely relies a lot on what the enemies are. But I think it belongs here because Elemental Seal is really, really good, and it's easy. You just buy the spells, you nuke the enemies. It's not that hard. The Geomancer is a really, really good mage class. I've put it here for a couple reasons. The first one is obviously it does not have a lot of spell charges. It only has 1 for each level. Terrain is really, really good. Its magic, once it gets to use it, is really, really good. It's better in random encounters. It's not quite as good in boss fights, but you don't have as much like heavy magic. Some of the magic is ridiculous. Like you can get heal 3s out of some of this. The equipment is mid, and obviously his physicals suck. Like they're really bad. Like it lives and dies by wherever you're standing. Now you can get sample once you become an elementalist, which is really, really good. It lets you bring whatever you want: fire, ice, phantom from the marsh terrain, whatever you want, and it's really good. However, it is very inconsistent. Until you get sample, damage does vary wildly. A lot of them I've noticed have highly variable damage rolls. A lot of the magic skills, whether it's healing or attack, highly variable. It should be better now that the under 300 HP bug is fixed. So some of those great early game spells like Snare will always work now. It's just kind of inconsistent. You don't always get what you want when you're selecting a spell, and of course, terrain's completely random. You can't reliably target weaknesses like multiple times per fight. Like, you can't hit an enemy for like powerful damage until you become an elementalist, Or you can't hit them for weak damage, but you can't hit them multiple times like a boss. And a lot of the enemies that resist the element of where they are, like fire is not going to work from the Goku volcano. It's not going to work against flame dragons, fire elementals, stuff like that. Ice cave's not going to work against frost giants, frost wolves, stuff like that. So it's kind of anti-synergistic with itself. It's very powerful and squishy. It has really bad survivability. It feels like a glass cannon. It has Blessed Bell, Giga Storm, which is ridiculous, but without the Blessed Bell, it's mid. All the other bells that aren't the Blessed Bell are pretty trash. It's more versatile than the Black or White Mage, but it's a little more inconsistent, and so that's why it's down here at number 9 instead of higher up on the list. Compared to the other physical classes, the Roman's gimmick feels almost like the Spellblade. You're trading some defense for an offense gimmick. Can't use any magic at all, which is kind of the downside. The Knight gets white magic, Ninja gets black magic. The technical point skills are pretty cool. It has worse stats, and it does get slightly worse weapons. It uses a lot of different kinds of weapons, but those are still limited to one hit, so they're bad even with double tactical points. They fall off later. They don't have quite as much exclusive equipment or like special weapons or armors to like make it better. The skills it gets from the Fallen Ronin, they're good, but they're kind of situational. Like, I don't know if you would want dual wield because it will reduce your ability to tank. You don't get as good as vitality. And of course, the effort's pretty high in terms of track down all this stuff. The equip swap in battle is pretty good, but it resets your tactical points. It's pretty good. It just feels like an improved version of the Spellblade. It's just the bows are still limited to one hit, which is the big thing here, because they're still really bad. A lot of the weapons skills are not that great, but it does still do a pretty good job of just being a physical class, even if it's a little gimmicky. The Dancer or the Rhythmist is one of the better designed classes in Final Fantasy Renaissance, and it's easily the strongest of the physical support options. It doesn't deal huge damage on its own, but what it brings to the party, it makes up for that. Its biggest strength is the ability to do a lot of things, and it can do them indefinitely, because it doesn't have spell charges at all. It's consistent. Most of the effects the dancers provide are party-wide. They don't need spell charges, as I've said. They can support indefinitely in longer fights. They get buffs, they get debuffs, they get utility and damage. They get everything under the sun you would want. Their physical attacks are actually pretty great. The effort of learning each dance is pretty high. There's a super boss at the end. The 7th dance requires 300,000 gold to learn, but it's just money. If you don't have a lot of expensive party, it shouldn't be that bad. Some of the spells are bad, some of the spells are good, but most of them are pretty solid. Healing Waltz is really good. The last one is really good. Forbidden Step is kind of mid, but it's kind of an odd one now. It's kind of a black sheep. That and Quick Step are the only really not that great dances, I would say. It stays relevant regardless of whatever the resistances are, since it doesn't really do raw damage, and the one big damage spell it does have is non-elemental. If you do a good job attacking, it has dual wield, and you get cat claws. It's not cheap. With 2 cat claws in the Forbidden Step. It falls short. It's not like super explosive. The only big heal, it gets Healing Waltz, which is good, but it's status heal. It's like I would rather just have more healing than on a single target than an AoE status heal. And of course, the AoE status heal is really good, but sometimes you think like I want to change this. Like it was better for earlier in the game, but you can't. And that's a big thing. I think it's like party wide, and it feels almost like a better version of the Green Mage. That can support offense. If fights end super fast before it can charge up its bravery, it can feel like it never really gets going. Its personal survivability is it's average. It has mage level armor. It's pretty strong actually. It rewards patience. You have to plan, but it does scale well into longer encounters. It's in my opinion, I think it's the best physical support class in the game. Even if it's not as flashy as the Augmented Machinist or all of the buffs from the Spellblades and spells, it's It's more reliable than that, and it'll keep your guys alive. And that's why it's, in my opinion, I think it's the best. It's like support class. Next up we have the trainer. It's surprisingly strong actually. I expected it to be like a gimmick. It really isn't. It's one of the better utility-focused physical options. It doesn't look really impressive, but in practice it brings a lot of value if you know how to use it. The flexibility is the biggest part of it. The trainer skills lets you obviously manipulate enemies. The success rate is actually pretty high. It's not like FF5 where it's like 40% or something terrible like that. It's pretty good. You can apply a lot of status effects with whips, stuff like stun for 1 round. I believe there's one that has a chance to control on hit, which is really good. You can extract value from fights that other classes can't. Like the wizards, you can have them, not only is it effectively a one-hit kill on one wizard, they can kill another wizard with their physical attack. It's really good in long encounters where it can just keep taking down enemies with its control after they die. I think value in long encounters is good. Some of the other classes that are lower down don't really have that like burst, and trainer definitely does, and I think that's helpful because you can take out an enemy instantly, or you can slowly like work them down over long encounters with like your whip status, and I think that versatility is really good. If you're looking for like an easy class to play, I would say it's not. It's definitely not an easy class to play. But if you know what enemies can use what skills and like where you can exploit their weaknesses, it's very, very powerful. It gets the bone mail from the Marsh Cave, which is better iron armor, and then the scale mail. It also gets that from the volcano, as well as all the axes. It gets 10% more hit with axes. You can get the lava axe from the volcano. You can get the light axe and the sea shrine. It's good. It has decent physical. It doesn't have any magic, but it has good skills. It's got good equipment, and it's really easy to work with. Nothing crazy here. The only thing that requires effort is getting monster food, because you have to do a side quest for that. Overall, it's a strong support. It's a good physical class, and it rewards having a lot of game knowledge. If you control too early, you might waste your turn. It has too much HP. If you control late, it'll cause the enemy to die quickly. If you control weak enemies, it'll waste your turns. But you have to know what the enemies are going to do and how you are going to exploit that. And this is a good one for like a second playthrough, or if you're more experienced with the game. In my opinion, I think this is one of the higher skilled classes to use, because of how powerful the control ability can be. You have enemies kill themselves too. So, like, if you just want to get an enemy off the board, you can do that quickly. About the only thing that is not great is the limit, which is pretty. It's trash. It basically just guarantees that next control attempt will succeed. It does not allow you to control stuff that can't be controlled, like bosses and Warmech. I think that would actually be cool if you could like control Warmech. And then the last ability they get is catch on class change. It's pretty good. You can like catch you can catch like a T-Rex or something, but generally it's not gonna be really that helpful. It's just a health bar. But it doesn't work that well because even as a health bar, you can't use the trainer's own skills. And in my opinion, passive control to control something that you brought into the battle is mid, and you also have to have space in the battle for it, which is not that great. So, yep. Next up, we have the Blue Mage, and I honestly do really feel like the Blue Mage belongs in the top 5, even though it seems like a weird choice. So let me explain. He doesn't get any healing from his Blue Mage spells. He doesn't get much utility, but he does get really good damage and the best magic of any caster. which honestly is what you're going to be using throughout the mid game. You're going to be using convergence and nuclear in the late game. In the early game, cremate is good. Scorch is fine. You get some darkness and paralysis moves, which are pretty good, especially when most enemies don't resist them in the early game. It is annoying to go out of your way for it, but they can use a lot of good equipment. They can use chain. I believe they can use. I think they use iron as well. I might be wrong on that. Don't take my word for that. They get pretty good swords. They can help out a lot in the physicals department. Obviously, their magic's very good, and their skills are 10 out of 10 because the reason I put them as a 10 out of 10 is because you can bait out skills from monsters, which makes your life a lot easier, and B, you can use it to shut down dangerous enemies that have a weaker skill by just not making them, but making it more likely they'll spam it over and over again. Like, this is not a good example. Like, you could force sorcerers to trance over and over again. With only like a few actually deciding to physical attack. Which obviously wouldn't work for them, but also, you have to be alive and spend your turn on that. So it's not something that's like gonna see use in that scenario or in this scenario. It's just something that's nice to have in certain spots. The other skill they get is convergence, and that's why it's a 10 out of 10. Convergence is amazing. Basically, what convergence does is it makes a AoE skill, single target, for more damage. You can nuke bosses with this. Phantom, like Inferno, Convergence, or like, Swirl, especially Convergence. Those can do some serious damage. Like Swirl Convergence against Carry does like 500 or something. No, not 500. It does a lot though. Like probably enough for a 2-shot. It's so good. Like you get it, like you're going to immediately want to. Once you get it, you're gonna immediately want to use it a lot. It's like one of the best skills in the game, which is why I put it here. Skill level, like I said, it's situational, but it's helpful for learning all the spells. And then Azure Affinity is like it's fine. It increases the strength of the next Blue Mage skill cast, which can, if you use it, plus Nuclear Convergence Nuclear, you can actually get some good damage on big bosses near the end of the game. Overall, this is like a hot take, and I think this is probably a hot take. I think that the Blue Mage belongs in the S tier, in the top 5. It's just my personal opinion. No, not that. The Monk in Final Fantasy Renaissance is a straightforward class, and it earns its place through like consistency rather than gimmicks here. Because it doesn't rely on any gear. It doesn't need any gear. It doesn't need any setup to function. It does a lot of damage. Its defense is fine. Generally, you might want to buy armor, but that's about the only thing. Because it's never going to use weapons, other than like a wooden nunchuck for the first 3 levels, which doesn't really count. So, as for the weird ranking here, the Monk doesn't fit right on the normal list because A, it doesn't use equipment, so factoring equipment in would not be like, it wouldn't fit for the Monk. So I've done this out of 40. And then obviously the effort and the physicals are, I let them go to 11 here because of how good they are. Obviously effort is like, you don't even need to buy weapons. There's literally nothing to do here. Like, just punch the enemies. It's not hard. For physicals, obviously, they have the best physicals in the game. Especially once they're leveled up a little more. Their physicals are amazing. So that's why I've let it exceed those 2 categories. Since 10 out of 10 physicals with this would give the same impression as the fighter and the lancer, when in reality, and only a little better than the blue mage. In reality, it's not. It's clearly a step above them. And of course, I've heard obviously it's really easy to use. Skills 8 out of 10. This is because of I believe the thing that allows them to use that allows them to fight barehanded and actually get damage is a skill. Obviously, their chi skills are actually pretty good. Combo is pretty good. Just want to let them start with point in chi. Chi blast sucks, but Striker is actually not bad. If you need a few poison heal, it's really good in Marsh Cave. I found it pretty useful actually. Obviously, there's not too much to actually talk about here. It's just like why I've decided to rank him like this. So 33 out of 40, it equates to like 78%, which is out of 100, which is why I put him up here in the S tier. I definitely think he's one of the best classes in the game. He's a fun class to try out for sure, and he can use a lot of the if you want to level him up enough, he doesn't need any armor. He can just use his natural sword. Of course, that will leave him open to like magic attacks. So I would always say good armor on him. But Monk Grandmaster is a very good class, and that is why I've put it here at 4 out of 20. Next up, we have the Lancer. It's one of the best physical classes. I think it belongs in the top 3. It has a lot of it has a lot of armor actually. So that's the main reason I put it up here, is it can tank for you. The physicals are really good. The magic is obviously not present, but the skills are really good. Obviously, it has some skills in game. Jump is amazing. Super jump got nerfed, but it's still probably really good. The recruitment is a little bit worse than the fight, but they get a spear for mid game. They get a spear for late game. I believe they get a spear for ultra late game. They get more with the thief. They can use a lot of the best armor. They use different weapons to fight her, but they have good weapons still. Their effort is really easy. It's just buy armor, buy weapon, jump. That's the whole gameplay in there. This one's pretty simple. Obviously, he's gonna get a bad score in magic, but his skills are really good. His equipment's really good. He has no effort required, and his physicals are really good. His limit is actually pretty good. It removes fatigue, immediately executes his super jump, and then what it does is for the next 3 turns, it'll it'll prevent fatigue status from happening. And then you can get the leaping boots, which allow you to tank more even if you're up in the sky, because they'll make it always act the start of a round, which makes them more consistent, and that's pretty good. Works with jump and super jump and the limit. Or the limit always activates, but it's really good, and this class is pretty simple, but it's pretty good. A fighter that can do a guaranteed critical hit jump on some of the early game bosses is going to wreck where the fighter can't, stuff like wizards, Astos. Lich, he just demolishes. Time Mage is easily the best magic class in the game because its control of the battlefield is ridiculous. It's pretty versatile actually. You can speed up allies, you can slow down enemies, you can manipulate turn order in a way. It gets solid offensive spells. It gets burst 2, which is pretty good. You get Meteor, which I think is fine. Obviously, you get stuff like Demi, which is pretty good. The Telly ability. The Telly is really, really, really good. You can basically set a telepoint, save wherever you want, go do a complete in and MP restoration, do whatever you want, and then come back. You only have one side at a time, but that's the only downside to it. It is amazing. It has really, really good utility. It doesn't need a setup because it can slow down or speed up allies. Or no, that's just for physical stats. It can manipulate turn order. It can use double cast. It can use its limit, which gives it 3 full turns to give it time to set up the buffs it needs. Float lets you sequence break the entire game. Float, it lets you ignore random encounters. You can skip all 4 fiends you visited with float if you want to. It's like, it doesn't matter if its physicals are terrible, if its armor is mid, if you own the battle. Like, the amount of, like, the reason I've given it 15 out of 10 here is just, it's ridiculous. Like, double cast is insane. That carries the skills. Telly, like, think about what it gets. It gets magic. It gets fast. It gets set teleport. It gets float. It gets fast 2. It gets all these amazing spells, and combined with stuff like double cast and temporal stasis, it just breaks the game, and that's why it's up there at 15 out of 10. It's just, it controls the battle. If it doesn't matter how much health it has, if it doesn't want you to win, you're not going to win the battle. It can restart the battle whenever it wants, on demand, without magic points, just by using a skill. It's ridiculous. But with all that said, the warrior in Final Fantasy Renaissance, it's hands down the most powerful class in the game. Its strengths are straightforward, but they're overwhelming. It gets unmatched weapon damage. It has very good HP. I believe only the monk has higher vitality, but obviously it has much better armor. It is the ability to equip basically every single weapon and armor type in the game. It just has a lot of raw power. It dominates standard encounters early on. By the mid game, you get stuff like the Ace Sword, and you can start ripping through bigger enemies. And it can heavily damage bosses in the late game. Just once it's been fasted or it's gotten its buffs up, it wrecks bosses. They have almost every single piece of good armor in the game can be equipped by them. All the weapons available are amazing. You can get Lunar Shield if you want. You can get Excalibur, which is really good. They're amazing with the Mass Beam. They just get powerful weapons for every stage of the game. There's no dry spots. Cover is really good. It allows you to protect basically your whole... It allows you to basically protect any character who might die otherwise. Warcry is pretty great, actually. The fighter itself does only get 1 turn to use it, but if you have 2 physical classes on hand, you're going to get a lot of use out of Warcry. It is kind of a thing for longer battles, though, so not something for, like, we just need to kill the enemies. Invincible is pretty great. It's useful against stuff like Kraken or Chaos's paralyzing physicals that just wreck you. The only real drawback is that it lacks a ton of magical utility. I put it at 4 out of 10 because it does get the first 2 levels of magic. Most of the time you're just going to use it for extra cures, but if you don't have a white mage or a green mage, that's the A spells if you want them, or at least A fire and A lit. They can't cast harm spells, but that's not a big deal. They get fog with that, which can be very powerful if they stack it on themselves. There's actually a lot of flexibility there. Stuff like heal. Just also being able to heal your allies is really good. So that's why they get a 4 out of 10 there. If it went 1 level higher, I don't think that would have done anything. If it went a little bit higher, like level 5, it would have been really good because they could cast life. But I would not do that since they're already the best class in the game. They don't need that. There's not really any fights in the game that I would say are impossible with just like a bunch of warriors. There's some that are hard, like Astos, but the amount of fights that are just going to be really easy with like a bunch of warriors just beating up the enemies, it's most of them, honestly. They're the best physical class in the game. They have, even without their offense, they're still, even in Final Fantasy Rennaisance, there's still nothing like a fighter meets shield. And there we have it. That's all the classes in the game. Here's the list from worst to best yet again. I'll see you guys in the next one.